In a long-forgotten dystopian city in the year 2125, where decay meets advanced technology, teenage leader Ace rallies her fearless Hoodie T gang to confront the sinister MAGA, aka the most aggressively governing authority in its archaic Project 2025, where their intergalactic tariffs have destroyed economies, started wars, and devastated its own population's future. This ruthless faction plans to brainwash the population with a mind control device, threatening individuality and freedom. Teaming up with the tech-savvy Additron Commandos, Ace navigates through dark alleys and skyscrapers, using her custom old-school Harley Twin-Cam H2 combustion hoverbike equipped with wormhole generators to gain the upper hand. As high-paced chases and epic battles unfold, Ace faces off against the charismatic yet ruthless Rex in a dramatic showdown within the MAGA bunker. With the city's fate hanging in the balance, can Ace disable the device and escape the collapsing stronghold? Join her in an adrenaline-fueled adventure that explores the fight for freedom against a backdrop of conformity and oppression, setting the stage for a rebellion that could reshape their world forever. Dimension Riders, the Hoodie T Rebellion. Part 1, The Chase. Ace's boots pounded against the cracked pavement as she sped through neon-lit alleyways on her custom Harley Twin-Cam Hoverbike, its chrome frame humming with the high-frequency energy of a wormhole generator. Every turn became an acrobatic feat as she threaded through the chaotic cityscape, expertly evading MAGA surveillance drones that scanned the streets with cold, red eyes. Raised in the Hoodie T gang, Ace learned rebellion as a way of life, mastering wormhole tech to counter MAGA's tightening grip on her city. Tonight, her screen flashed with intel that made her heart race. A new project was underway, one that might seal her city's fate. Her Apple Millennium alerted her to an incoming drone sweep as she cut into a side street, dropping into a wormhole portal with a final twist of her bike's throttle. A flash of light, and she re-emerged miles away, her bike roaring to life again as she zipped down a secluded alley. Ace barely allowed herself a breath. MAGA was always a heartbeat away, their network too vast to ignore. Yet her past was etched in every move she made. When MAGA enforcers stormed her gang's hideout years ago, she had seen her parents fall before her eyes, and that day fueled her relentless defiance. Now a seasoned leader, she had transformed her grief into a rebel's weapon, using wormholes to create a labyrinth of safe havens for the Hoodie Ts and strike when the timing was just right. As she wove through abandoned structures that stood like ghostly sentinels, she heard the whir of a MAGA patrol car nearing. Smiling, she sped up, twisting her bike's wormhole dial. Just as the patrol car's spotlight zeroed in, Ace disappeared, her portal snapping shut behind her. She re-emerged in a shadowed alley, the car left idling, its occupants baffled. But she had no time to gloat. The rendezvous point awaited, where the enigmatic Additron Commandos were rumored to be gathering. She'd heard whispers of this group, a shadowy coalition of rebels resisting MAGA's oppression with their own sophisticated tech. The risky mission would take trust, but if she could meet them, they might just have the edge to save her city. Through every twist and turn, Ace was reminded of the stakes. She had given her life to Hoodie T for one purpose: freeing her city from MAGA's cruel grip. In this latest project, whatever it was threatened to turn her people into puppets. Her mission became her heartbeat, a silent vow to every rebel who had sacrificed everything. She zoomed toward the rendezvous, her bike's power humming in sync with her resolve. As she neared the warehouse, a decaying relic of MAGA's neglect, Ace slid into the shadows, her gaze hardening. Whatever the Commandos had in store, she was ready to face it, and MAGA would never see her coming. Part 2, The Message. Ace's hands hovered over the handlebars as she cut the bike's engine, the alley's silent save for the ticking of her bike cooling down. The encrypted message blinked insistently on her wrist communicator. Warehouse in the Industrial District, Project 2025 intel is urgent. For a second, Ace wavered, the weight of an unseen risk pressing down on her shoulders. She had survived this long by trusting her instincts and no one else. But the stakes had never been higher, and the urgency of uncovering MAGA's plans overruled her distrust. With a steadying breath, she veered off, each turn bringing her closer to the Industrial District, a maze of decrepit factories and forgotten infrastructures that loomed under an endless sea of smog. The narrow streets were eerily still, remnants of an abandoned society. And as Ace rounded the final corner, her gaze locked onto the warehouse, a hulking structure, its corrugated metal exterior bathed in shadow. She barely had time to size up the building before a figure stepped from the darkness. The dim light revealed the unmistakable silhouette of an Additron Commando, her piercing gaze steady. "Ace, I presume?" the woman said, her voice smooth, controlled. "I'm Kira. We've been expecting you." Wary but ready, Ace took in Kira's posture, her stance military, but her face bearing a genuine curiosity. "If you know me, then you know I don't have time for games," Ace replied, crossing her arms. "What do you know about Project 2025? Kira's expression hardened as she pulled out a tablet, scrolling to a holographic blueprint. MAGA's developed a city-wide mind control device. They call it Project 2025, and once activated, it will reduce everyone to obedient drones. It's all going down in a hidden bunker beneath the city, and their defenses are ironclad." Ace felt a chill creep down her spine, her fists clenching. "Where's the bunker?" "Directly below the Central Command Complex. But we can't break through without help," Kira replied, meeting Ace's gaze with a grave look. The weight of the mission and the cost of failure hung in the air between them, unspoken. Without hesitation, Ace's voice hardened. "Lead the way." Kira nodded, and the two of them disappeared into the shadows. This time, the stakes were clear. Either they stopped MAGA, or everything Ace held dear would be obliterated. Her city was counting on her, and she wouldn't let them down. Part 3. Into the Void. Ace and the Additron Commandos moved like ghosts, silent and lethal. MAGA's high-tech fortress loomed before them, fortified with layers of defense tech that would deter all but the most determined. As Ace activated her wormhole generator, she and Kira's team launched a diversion. Wormholes opening through each corridor like rips in reality, sending MAGA's guards scattering in disarray. Inside the cold steel corridors, Ace's bike roared with a furious hum as she weaved past guards, each twist of her controls creating a path for the commandos behind her. The industrial smell of oil and seared circuits choked the air as the fortress's alarm screamed. Ace's focus sharpened to a razor's edge, her mind a seamless fusion of speed and strategy. When they reached the central control room, it was chaos. MAGA's elite guards closed in with precision plasma rifles, their heavy exosuits clanking in metallic unison. Yet even as the room filled with tension, Ace felt a surge of purpose. And then, at the heart of the command center, stood the MAGA operative, a figure shrouded in darkness, his eyes gleaming with a sick pride. "Too late," he sneered, one hand resting on a device that seemed to pulse with energy. "Think again," Ace shot back, firing up her wormhole controls. She launched herself into the fray, each strike sending her fists tearing through dimensions, her punches crashing against the operative with disorienting force. He staggered, fighting back with manic glee. But just as her wormhole strike landed, his fingers brushed the activation switch, and the room pulsed with electric energy. Ace spotted a fragile circuit node, yanked it out, and rewired it on the fly, twisting it into her wrist controls. Sparks exploded as she activated a wormhole inside the device itself. The vortex tore it apart from the inside, its circuits sparking in a final burst. The fortress shook, debris raining down as Ace and Kira fought to hold their ground. Kira's voice echoed through the calm, urgent but steady. "Go, Ace! Get out of here!" Ace's gaze met Kira's, the silent nod between them sealing the moment. She hit full throttle, racing for the wormhole portal just as the fortress erupted into flames, the world behind her consumed in a white-hot blaze. Part 4. Shifting Loyalties. As Ace led the commandos back to their safe house, she caught sight of Kira exchanging words with another figure, a young man with a hardened look and a tattooed neck. Ace's instincts flared. Every hoodie tee knew this face. It was Declan, a former ally turned traitor, who had allegedly defected to MAGA for a hefty bounty. Rumor had it he'd traded secrets for freedom, leaving his former comrades to rot in detention cells. She approached him slowly, her fingers brushing the hilt of her knife. "You've got a lot of nerve showing your face here, Declan." Declan raised his hands, smirking. "Calm down, Ace. I'm not with MAGA. Not anymore, at least. I'm here because I know Project 2025 better than anyone. And if you're serious about taking it down, you'll need me." Ace's jaw clenched, her glare piercing. She didn't trust Declan any further than she could throw him, but Kira's eyes were steady. "I've vetted him, Ace. He knows things we need, codes, backdoors." MAGA systems are practically woven into his brain. The tension in the room crackled. Ace wanted nothing more than to take Declan down, but if Kira trusted him, maybe she should too, at least for now. But Declan's presence introduced a rift. The commandos eyed him warily, their glances filled with suspicion. Ace knew this partnership was on fragile ground. One wrong move, and the whole plan could implode. With a silent nod, she crossed her arms. "Fine, but if you step out of line, Declan, I'll make sure you regret it." As they debriefed, the mission's next steps took shape. Declan's knowledge was invaluable. He revealed that MAGA's bunker was reinforced with hybrid AI sentries, programmed to adapt to intruders' tactics in real time. They had one chance, and only perfect synchronization would guarantee their survival. As night fell, the team moved out. But Ace could feel the weight of Declan's past pressing down on her, a creeping doubt she couldn't shake. Trusting him meant risking everything. But with MAGA tightening its hold on her city, she had no choice but to keep her enemies close and her traitorous allies even closer. Part 5. The Vault Break. They arrived at MAGA's subterranean vault, a high-tech fortress nestled beneath layers of ironclad security. Declan had been right about the AI. From the moment they breached the entrance, the defenses roared to life. Each guard seemed to anticipate their moves, shadows responding to every dodge and feint with chilling accuracy. Ace felt her pulse race as she skidded behind cover, Kira at her side. They exchanged a quick glance, each understanding the stakes. "It's like they know us," Kira muttered, her eyes scanning the perimeter. Declan barked through the comms, his tone urgent. "You've got to disable the mainframe, or we're toast. I can buy us a few seconds, but you'll need to be fast." Ace slid out, her wrist controller beeping as she hacked into the system, navigating code layers as bullets ricocheted off the walls around her. Finally, the firewall cracked, and the AI stalled long enough for the team to make it deeper into the complex. They fought through room after room, each one a testament to MAGA's obsession with power. The corridors reeked of sterile, cold metal, lit by the harsh blue glow of surveillance screens, each displaying live feeds of a city under control, one screen at a time, showing every corner of life that MAGA was choking. Ace clenched her jaw, her rage fueled by each image. She could hear the echo of her parents' voices, see the pain of her people in every flickering image. This was the reason she fought. MAGA's stranglehold would end tonight. When they reached the central vault, Declan entered a series of codes with swift precision, a sneer on his face. "They trained me to open this," he muttered, "but they forgot I'd remember how to close it." The vault door slid open, revealing the heart of Project 2025, the mind control device. The sleek, obsidian black machine pulsed with an ominous hum, its surface gleaming with rows of hypnotic lights that thrummed in synchronization. Ace hesitated, taking in the machine's power, the chilling finality of it. She felt Kira's hand on her shoulder. "It's time," Kira whispered. Without another word, they positioned the explosives around the machine. Ace set the timer and turned to the team. "We're out of time. Let's go." But as they started to leave, a figure appeared at the doorway. Declan, blocking their exit with a strange, uncharacteristic calm. "Sorry, Ace," he said, his voice flat. "Some debts are too big to erase." In an instant, he activated the door lock, sealing them inside. Ace's pulse raced, a surge of betrayal and fury flooding her. Declan's smirk lingered as he backed away, disappearing into the corridor. Ace's mind raced as she scanned the room, quickly noting an emergency panel on the wall. If she could override the system, they might have a chance to escape. Part 6. Escape and Resolve. With the explosive timer ticking down, every second felt like an eternity. Ace's fingers moved swiftly across the control panel, her mind a blur of calculations and raw determination. The lock released with a metallic click, and she pushed the door open, the team rushing into the hallway as the countdown neared 0. Kira grabbed Ace's arm, propelling her forward. "We're not going down here." They ran through the darkened corridors, the distant rumble of explosions growing louder. The ground trembled beneath them, and debris rained from the ceiling as the entire vault seemed to buckle. Ace's heart thundered in her chest as she leaped over broken beams, dodging falling pipes with an agility honed from years of survival. Just as they reached the final exit, the sound of the explosion roared, a wave of fire chasing them through the narrow passageway. They broke through the doors and emerged into the night, the underground bunker collapsing behind them in a fiery inferno that lit up the sky. They stood in silence, catching their breath as the flames consumed the facility, smoke billowing into the air like a signal of rebellion. Kira turned to Ace, her expression a mix of relief and determination. "It's over for now." Ace shook her head, the weight of their mission still pressing down on her. "Declan's still out there, and as long as MAGA has loyalists like him, It'll never be over. She glanced around at the weary but resolute faces of the commandos, each bearing scars from battles fought and comrades lost. She knew this wouldn't be the last fight. MAGA's reach was vast, and her city wouldn't be safe until every one of their operatives was gone. But as she looked into the night, the city's skyline illuminated by the fires of their latest victory, a sense of hope flickered within her. They had struck a blow against MAGA, one that wouldn't be forgotten. Ace's fingers tightened around her bike's handlebars, the hum of its wormhole generator a comforting reminder of the power she wielded. She revved the engine, glancing at Kira. "There's more to be done, Kira, and we're not stopping until MAGA is finished." With a final nod, she took off into the night, her bike cutting through the darkness as her team followed. Together, they rode into the unknown, ready to confront whatever challenges lay ahead, their mission a beacon of hope for all those who still believed in freedom.